What is going on, you guys? Oscar here today, and we are watching a gameplay of a deck that I absolutely love to play. This was recorded live on Twitch TV. I stream there pretty much every day, so if you haven't checked out my Twitch, go ahead and check it out. It's twitch.tv/OskiRocks. I'll have a link in the description. But today I wanted to do a gameplay of one of the decks that I have been using a lot recently. It's a deck I like to call Swords. It's one of my favorite decks I've ever built all time. I even built it in real life because I think it has really fun potential against a ton of different decks. And this game specifically is a game against Gardevoir GX. And right there on the screen we're watching as I'm Bleach802, or a friend of mine named Triton subscribes for his second month in a row. So thanks to him. That's a little shout out to him. But this is against Gardevoir GX, which everyone is basically saying if you're not playing Gardevoir, you're playing, you know, Trashalanche or something. So it's one of the most popular decks in the format right now. And this is an expanded version, so take that with a grain of salt. But it'll show you kind of the power that this deck has in expanded. So the idea of the deck is to, if you can, get a turn 1 Bridget. If you can't, then you just try to get as many basics down as you can on turn 1. And you are using doublade. Doublade has an attack called False Swipe, and False Swipe basically for a DCE lets you put damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon equaling to 10 HP left. So if you're going up against a Metagross GX, then you put 240 damage counters on it. And so the point of the deck is to get a False Swipe off, but on top of that, you want to make sure that you poison. Because going into their turn, poison will knock anything out. Anything in the game, it'll knock it out if you poison and get the heads on the False Swipe. Unfortunately, Doublade does make you flip a coin, so there's that part to it, which kind of sucks. So the deck runs a bunch of different things. It runs Ariados. It runs this stadium called Chaos Tower. Chaos Tower lets you flip it around, and eventually it makes you not get poisoned. So you can use Ariados's Poisonous Nest, and you don't poison yourself. So that's kind of cool. Unfortunately, it also runs lasers, and when you play Chaos Tower, you can't put your opponent to sleep. But we're flipping heads every time, so who cares, right? So we put a DCE down. We didn't have a great first turn. We had to Sycamore away a Doublade and an Ariados. But we get a DCE drop on one of our Honedges on the bench. But we are stuck with the Spinarak in the active. That's okay, we do run Float Stones, and I think I did put a Guzma in the deck at this point. If not, then I'm a scrub. Our deck runs one Tapu Lele. It only runs one because the bench space has to be filled with Victini to flip your coins a second time if you need to. And you always want to have a Doublade in the wings ready to go. Because if you only have one up at a time, if you get knocked out, then there's no way to return knockout if you don't have another Doublade ready to go. So you always want to at least have this setup right here with one Doublade and at least a Honedge at this point. So I put down the Tapu Lele just as another secondary attacker if I ever need it. And I already had a Sycamore in hand, so it's not like I needed to grab anything. Kind of a weird little play. You never really play Tapu Lele without grabbing a supporter, it seems, these days. But it is, I guess, your last means of resort secondary attacker. Because Victini can't attack with the DCE, and neither can Spinarak. So our opponent does have, what is this, turn 3. Has a turn 3 Gardevoir, has a DCE on it. He has a Ralts with a DCE and a Fairy Energy on the bench, and we do see an Ultra Ball coming down. Probably for a Kirlia. Nope, for a Tapu Lele, which is interesting because he has no bench space. So that's cool. We do see the Diancie in the active, which has that Sparkling Wish attack, which allows you to evolve your Pokemon, but it looks like he Sparkling Wished and could not get a Kirlia out. So our opponent has no more Kirlia in the deck, it seems. Very interesting. You will see right underneath me the chat rolling. This, like I said, was pre-recorded, and so sorry, I thought I had to sneeze there for a second. It is pre-recorded, so the chat is not live. That is a live chat from when we were on Twitch. But we go ahead and we use the Hypnotoxic Laser and VS Seeker for another Sycamore. I'm looking for a Float Stone here because I want to start doing some damage, and we do get the Float Stone, and we do also get the Evo Soda. We're going to drop the Enhanced Hammers on both the DCEs on the bench for our opponent, so that's really good. And we do get the Spinner Rack off of the active, and we could also Evo Soda here, but I guess I decided it's not really necessary. But we don't have Victini on the bench, so we actually flip a Tails, so that kind of sucks. This is not a good showing of swords so far. This deck can be absolutely ridiculous. You can flip a lot of heads sometimes and just knock stuff out. Boom, boom, boom. And it's super fun. You really won't understand how fun this deck is until you start playing it. A lot of people have told me, oh, you should be playing Radicate Break instead. And I'm just like, look, man, Radicate has to evolve, and then you have to break it. So this is just a single evolution, and you get all this adrenaline from flipping heads. What is more fun than that? I don't know. I mean, if there's anything more fun, you tell me. So we do see another rare candy coming down, and we will see a second Gardevoir GX coming into play. And our opponent does retreat to a Gardevoir GX and Infinite Forces for the knockout. So at this point, I'm kind of like, oh dang, what am I going to do? Well, I do have an Evo Soda sitting in my hand, and I do have a Hypnotoxic Laser. So we draw a invisible card. It's a Bridget. A couple turns too late. So I'm going to drop this laser and get our opponent's Gardevoir GX poisoned. I'm going to drop this Honedge. I don't know why I'm taking so long to make these decisions. And I do play the Bridget because it allows me to get the Victini this turn, and I can Evo Soda into the doublade. I only have one left in the deck. I run 2 Rescue Stretchers, so I'm not too worried about that at this point. And we flip Tails, and we flip Tails. So that's a double Tails, followed by the Tails that we got the turn before. So at this point in the moment in the game, I'm just like, what the heck am I gonna do, dude? I am dying here. And our opponent plays a Sycamore. He has 2 Gardevoir GXs built up. They both have 2 Fairy Energies on them each. And we do see a Secret Spring coming down onto another Ralts. So it looks like he's starting to build up his 3rd Gardevoir. And I'm just like, what the heck do I do, dude? What am I going to get done here? I have absolutely no idea. And we get Infinite Force for another knockout. Our opponent is down to 4 prizes. We still have 6 to go. And I'm just like, I guess I come in with this Honedge and see what I can do. I mean, who knows? And I pull a doublade, which is pretty cool. And all I need is a DCE off of this Professor Sycamore. Ooh, and I drew it. I drew the DCE, and I also drew the Rescue Stretcher. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle in all that stuff that has died. Starting with 2 Honedge. I'm going to go with 1 Honedge and 2 doublade. To leave a 1/1 in the discard. I think that helps my numbers a little more, and that way I can get another Honedge back on the bench. There he goes. As the Gardevoir is already poisoned, we don't need to get the Ariados right now. And I really need to flip a heads here so you guys can start to see what this deck is all about. And we flip a Tails, and we go again with Victini and get our first heads. Beautiful. So, just like that, a Gardevoir GX is knocked out. Boom. And we pull 2 prizes. We get a N and an Ultra Ball. And he comes in with another Gardevoir. And I know he's going to go take a knockout right here. And I'm pretty sure I'm running out of energy at this point. I should probably check my my discard. But, like I said, this was already recorded. So I can't really tell you what's in the discard right now. Our opponent VS Seekers for the teammates. Which... he realizes at that point that he can't use because his Pokemon was knocked out by poison. It wasn't actually knocked out by damage, which is another great thing about this deck. He didn't actually use the teammates, so he VS Secret for it, realized he couldn't use it, and he was like, oh crap, I have to use this Sycamore. So we see an Infinite Force for 120 damage, and at this point I'm just like, oh man, I am really struggling here. I check my discard. I have a teammates in the discard. So I'm coming in with this Honedge. and we draw a laser, which is nice. Boom. And we get a tails on the flip for it, so he won't fall asleep there. What next? What next? Just thinking about what to do here. Also probably taking some time reading chat and stuff like that. I'm going to Ultra Ball for a doublade, but I think I need to check my deck for energy, and I realize that my energy are gone. All my energy are gone. So at this moment I'm like, oh dang. I'm like, what the heck do I do now? I'm out of energy, and I just evolved into this doublade. Smart me says I should probably end at this point, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and grab the teammates to grab the special charge, because I need to put some energy back into the deck. So I'm gonna grab that, and I'm looking around thinking, what else could I grab? I'm also out of rescue stretchers. One of them is probably prized from the looks of things. So I'm just thinking about saving this doublade at this point. I need to save this doublade if possible. So I'm going to retreat to the... I think I'm doing some damage here. 3, 6, 9, 12. Infinite Force won't knock me out at this moment. But I'm going to give up this spin rack. I'd rather give up 1 prize than 2 prizes, kind of, at this point. And that's all I could really do that turn. So I just retreat and pass after using the special charge. So I do save that doublade, and we see a VS Seeker coming down for a Guzma, and I'm just, man, that's where the heart drops. You're just like, oh. And we see a Ralts coming in and retreating, so he gets rid of his poison. But at this point, he's actually not knocking me out. He's only doing 60 with Infinite Force, and that's all he can do there. So that's good for us. The doublade lives, and we draw another end, so we have 3 in our hand. That's all we can do. We do draw the full art one, which means we will get a good hand off of it, and we get an energy, but that's not enough for us. That's actually not enough for us. We do not get a knockout with that. So I think I'm just going to retreat here to the Tapu Lele just to drop some damage. That's all I can do right now. And Tapu Lele does have a DCE on it, so I can retreat it if need be. So we put some damage down onto the Gardevoir. It looks like it's 90, 2, 4, 6, 8, and he already had 10, so that is 90. I always get confused with, like, it looks like it should be 60 pointing at my opponent, but it's backwards and it's upside down, so it's actually 90, but whatever. Good old TCGO. So our opponent uses an N as well, and we draw into a Skyla and a Doublade and another DCE. So we see an Infinite Force for 150, which is a ton of damage. Then we draw a Hex Maniac. So I'm going to Skyla here. I should grab a Level Ball. And I actually realized that I can't. We are running out of resources in our deck at this moment. We are down to 4 cards. So that's really not good. But 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 with 90 damage on it actually equals a knockout. So here comes secondary attacker Tapu Lele. In this instance, worked out well for us, gets us a knockout, and we go down to 2 prizes. Our opponent is at 3, and we draw a Level Ball and a Laser, which is really good for Doublade. So we are just sitting here right now. Our opponent is going to come in with the Beacon Alolan Vulpix. Don't really know what else he could grab at this point. I guess he could take a turn to try and grab either a Curlia that he grabbed out of his prizes or another Gardevoir GX if he has a rare candy in hand. But our opponent is kind of scrambling here. So am I, to be completely honest. I do have Tapu Lele doing 80 damage, but that's not really the point of my deck. And if he knocks this thing out, I have a Doublade with 60 damage on the bench. So I'm kind of like low here on options. Our opponent uses Beacon and doesn't grab anything, which is really good for us. We go for the Tapu Lele on the bench. I'm going for a big play here. I'm going to retreat to Doublade. Here we go, y'all. It's time to do some false swipe with a laser. Here we go. and we get a heads off of that laser. We use false swipe, and we get a tails flip again. Heads! Woohoo! That's game. Man, even with limited resources, we were able to pull that game out. I kind of drew through my deck like a crazy madman in those early turns, and got rid of a lot of resource. But guess what? We did it. LOL GG. I actually got enough points off of that win to get the 5 plasma freeze packs on the ladder. 3 plasma freeze. 5 was a little bit later. But don't worry, we didn't pull a gold ultra ball. You will not be seeing that happen here anytime soon. So I just wanted to show off this deck. That was kind of a silly game. This happened around like 3 a.m. because I went live after pulling a pretty sick secret rare. But yeah, I just wanted to show off swords, see what you guys think about it, see if you guys hate it. Am I going to get a lot of "you should play Eradicate Break instead" comments? I hope not. I think this is so much more fun than Eradicate Break. The adrenaline of flipping heads, I'm telling you, until you play it, you'll never understand. Check out my Twitch, you guys. I will be uploading a few more videos of some other cool games that I played. But thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, give the old channel a subscribe and head over to my Twitch and give it a follow, and you can know when I go live. But yeah, this is swords. This is the power of swords. Destroying Gardevoir GX. Destroying loosely. We could use that term loosely, huh? Beating Gardevoir GX. One of the premier decks of today. But thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you next time. I am Oscar. See you later.